Okay.
My, what a smashing ensemble. You wear it well.
Shut up. I look like a twit.
The caftan is sewn of the best fabrics available, and according to the best tailoring practices. But one must have a modicum of taste to appreciate this.
Oh, we
Even
saw this guy
the
before,
most
right? We let him
exquisite
acquit.
robes cover only deficiencies in beauty, never in refinement.
I don't know. I mean, we are definitely used to wearing something a little bit different, but, guess we're not about to debate taste with, Taylor. But yeah, so originally, I was thinking that when we decided to try to bring Sienna back to Detloff, seeing as how that was what Detloff wanted to do, I was thinking that maybe that would mean, we could potentially find a way to reach a diplomatic solution between Sienna and Detloff, and I thought that the person who would draw the short end of the stick was going to be the Duchess, because we're going against the Duchess in that case. Now, I guess we don't really know the full extent of the consequences of what we ended up doing until, well, we see this all the way through, but a little bit surprised by that, so let's carry on.
Rather not bicker about taste. Don't like to. It's neither interesting nor productive.
This particular Witcher has an inborn intolerance for formal occasions. Yet he's to attend just such an event shortly. I expect that's the source of his prickliness. So try not to take things personally, Master Taylor. Rather pity him. For in truth, stage fright overwhelms him. He trembles at the thought that he has no notion how to behave in the presence of Her Grace's Majesty.
As well he should. All that being as it may, Toussaint's highest honor, the Order of Vitis Vinifera, demands appropriate attire. The Duchess cannot be expected to drape the medal on a suit of armor caked in mud. Palace protocol places enormous emphasis on form, virtuous tradition, etiquette.
Huh. A tradition which values appearances ahead of all else. Which calls for lordly, glistening triviality and misplaced generosity.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, perhaps there's still more to be said here, more to be done. We don't know for certain just how things will end just yet, although, at least from what we currently know, if in fact Detloff is dead, that just seems kind of ironic to me that by sort of taking Detloff's side in that encounter, or that whole plot line, going after Sienna and trying to bring her back to him, that meant killing Detloff and therefore doing the thing that the Duchess wanted us to do. We were basically defying the Duchess, however, in doing so, we got the end result she was looking for, killing Detloff. So that just seems like if that does end up playing out that way, that feels a little strange. Like, that's sort of the opposite of what you would have expected. Like I said, I was expecting that if anything, Detloff, Sienna would be fine, or at least relatively okay, and then the Duchess would hate us because we went against her will. But, anyways, like I said, getting ahead of myself here, but I can sense that philosophical mood is coming on. Let's see. Well, yeah, apparently, I mean, from the looks of things, based on what's happening here, we're getting all dressed up, and perhaps the Duchess is trying to honor us for having saved the city, the duchy?
Sound wistful. Pensive, Regis. That because they refused to buy you a new outfit?
Hardly. It's the tone I ever adopt when I find myself pondering, which, believe it or not, happens quite a lot. Besides, I've no need for a new outfit, as I shall not be attending the ceremony.
Why not?
Because unlike you, I don't have to. I shall begin to pack
Rub
my
it in,
belongings
why don't you?
instead. I trust you'll join me later, once you're richer by a medal and a fascinating new experience.
Count on it.
Seems a little bitter about it, though. I mean, sure, it is potentially a prestigious honor that we're about to receive, but I mean, as he said, it's not like this is something that Geralt is terribly fond of doing. I don't really think Geralt's one to be all braggadocious about it and hold that against Regis, that Geralt's the one who has this honor and Regis is not.
Ceremonies, medals honoring virtues, just keeps coming up.
I've had no reprieve either. And I keep thinking of the last great virtue, compassion. It's the one piece of the puzzle that never seemed to fit.
Mean you suddenly believe the 5 virtues theory, after all we've revealed?
It's not a question of belief, superstition, or old wives' tales. It's a conclusion derived through exercising pure logic. Siana planned everything in advance. Had we not stopped her, surely there'd have been a 5th victim. One the gossips would have associated with a lack of compassion.
Her plans don't matter now. Can't act on them. Ask the messenger who delivered my invitation to the ceremony. Siana's in the palace. Courtiers pressured the Duchess to lock her in a tower.
Oh,
You care
shoot.
not a whit who else was in her black book. We've some time before the ceremony. We could still chat with that boot-cleaning urchin. He was the one to pass the victims' names to Detlef. Perhaps we missed something.
Yes, there's definitely more information we can still try to gather here. What exactly happened to Siana when she did end up traveling back to the, Land of a Thousand Fables? Based on how Regis just said that she's in the palace, it sounds like once she got there, she soon thereafter came back. I mean, of course, we did create that beanstalk, and so assuming that it's still there and there isn't a giant that has now re-emerged to guard that place where we were fighting it before, then it could mean there's a relatively easy way back. But, of course, it took us a while the first time, at least, so if she has to redo all of that, then that'd be tough. But then, yeah, still some additional lack of information around. I mean, we have some sense as to how and why Siana did everything that she did, but as Regis said, if it was supposed to be a victim for each of the 5 virtues, then there's still that one victim that did not actually become a victim because we intervened before that ended up happening. So there's some perhaps intrigue if we could figure out who that person would have been, and are they still in danger? Is Siana still a threat? And what is the future with Siana here? So let's see. How do you know the Bootblack delivered the letters? And this was the guy who, as Regis said, did inform Detlef of the victims to be. So presumably could be someone with more information.
Regis, Bootblack didn't say anything about making deliveries when we talked to him. How do you know he handled the letters?
While you basked in glory and tried on new formal wear,
All
I
right,
conducted a
he's
little
off,
investigation
Regis.
of my own. You'd be very proud to see how I conducted myself. I began by concocting an ample supply of boot wash for our enterprising young friend. I'd observed that among street folk, amidst their society as a whole, reciprocity takes precedence over all other codes, and thus no good deed goes unrewarded. Of course, the same holds true for malicious or destructive deeds.
The letters. What's the connection?
When the bootblack arrived to collect his bucketful, he hinted he knew more. Simply put, we'd failed to ask the proper questions when we chatted earlier. It took a bit more tongue loosening, but ultimately he spoke. He admitted he'd handed Detlef the letters. He knew this information was valuable to me. In providing it, he was simply repaying me.
Okay. So you're able to get additional information through that. So let's see. So we can say you're right, and we can talk to the Bootblack and get some more information that way. Say, not bad as ideas go, talking to the Bootblack. Let's meet there. Oh, so just another way of meeting there. Or alternatively, we just say, nah, we're good. No need to talk any further. I think we do want to go. I think, why not get additional information about it? Presumably, it doesn't seem like we're missing out on anything by doing that, based on how Regis was saying it's going to be a little while until things get started over here. So I think we just go for it.
All in all, why not check up on that? We'll go together, assuming we're done here.
I am done, yes. It lies in your hands now to see if you are able to present my handiwork at the ceremony with the dignity it is due. Or
We
if
shall
you
see.
will first destroy it, crawling about the city's underbelly.
Oh, that we shall. I can tell you that
Promise
much.
to be careful.
We won't.
Oh, it's the swordsman. Good to see you. Here for a spiffing? Dirty boots are a stain on professional dignity, you know. Step on up.
Need to ask you something.
Yet again? Come on then. I'm a proponent of free speech and I will gladly tell you all I know. But why not get your boots shanked while we jabber?
Guess they could use a spit and polish.
I mean, these
Then
ones that
I
we
shall
quite
take
literally just
advantage
got.
as well. A friend of mine used to say boots should be as clean as the soles that wear them.
Clean boots, clean soles. A fine slogan.
I guess. Let's see. So yeah, how's business? How's it going?
How's business?
Well enough. I can't complain. Though it'd be even better were certain folk to sit down for a shine as they stood and chatted.
I don't know. You're referring to a certain witcher and undercover vampire, perhaps? But anyways, the primary reason why we're here, the letters you delivered. Do you remember those?
Man in the frock coat. You passed him some letters, remember?
Why, of course. I'm young, got a mind like a steel trap, but...
If you're about to tell me this information will cost me, forget it. How'd you get those letters?
Beggars brought them.
Yeah, didn't we basically ask him about... I mean, we generally asked him about this topic before. Don't know if we specifically posed this question.
Why didn't you tell us this before, when we first talked?
You didn't ask about beggars now, did you?
I guess not. Alright, fair enough, you got me, but who were they?
Beggars. Tell us more about them. How many were there?
Why, 4. One for each letter.
Just 4? Sure you didn't get a 5th?
I can't count, you know.
Remember anything else? These beggars have anything in common?
What? Come now. Each was different. Some had mismatched boots, others had no boots at all.
Other than their boots, though.
Oh, I know. They all had no home.
Kid, my patience is starting to run a little thin. Now think hard.
Let's see. So we can ask what they looked like, or where they got the letters from. Don't know if we'll be able to ask both of these things. I mean, perhaps either one could potentially give us enough information to track these people down. Presumably that's what Geralt is looking to do here. I would think maybe getting... I mean, I don't know how vividly he can describe the way a beggar looks, and if it can be so descriptive that we can actually track down the specific people who gave him those letters. I feel like it would be easier if he knew specifically where those letters came from for us to track that route and find the people that way. But, I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to ask both these. Let's lead up with this, though.
Where'd they get the letters? They pick them up? Get them from someone?
I don't know. They'd come, hand me a letter, and walk away. I asked no questions.
Geralt, allow me to ask a question. Listen, lad. I'll be glad to mix another batch of that boot shine for you. But you must focus now and tell us all you know. Where can we find the beggars?
Well, at the shelter, most like.
Where's that?
Everyone knows. It's just round the corner. Up those stairs, then right.
Thanks, kid. For your trouble. You must visit the shelter. Look around inside.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's technically optional, but I suppose going over here to talk to the Bootblack was optional to begin with, so that makes sense. But so pomp and strange circumstance, Witcher had at last defeated the Beast of Beauclair. Her Enlightened Highness Duchess Anna Henrietta invited him to a ceremony where she would award him the Vitis Vinifera Medal, Toussaint's highest honor. Geralt, famous for being one of the world's leading scruffs, possessed no outfit that would not violate protocol or be remotely suitable for such an occasion. In her generosity, the Duchess agreed to fund a new robe. Regis, having nothing better to do, accompanied the Witcher to the tailor's for his fitting. There, the vampire revealed the thought that was tormenting him. Namely, he believed Sienna had planned 5 murders from the start. He wished to know the identity of the 5th intended victim. He suggested to Geralt that they investigate the matter to the end. We visit the Bootblack, now we can go to the shelter, and talking to Damien presumably is the way that we actually move forward with the whole ceremony. So we'll definitely wait on that. But I was also curious just to see what is the deal with this stuff we have equipped right now. because we've never seen this before, I don't think. Eau Claire doublet. I mean, it's one armor, much like any other fancy clothes we've seen. I don't know. Was the tailor that we got this stuff from in the cutscene, and the one that we like I said, spoke to him previously, and did make a point of, I believe, playing him at Gwent's. Was he selling this stuff? He might have been, because I vaguely remember that we were saying, oh, we might want to pick up some things here, because it seems pretty unusual, the types of things he was offering, and then we were saying, well, then again, maybe not. Also, I can't help but notice that although the doublet is in fine shape, the trousers and the boots are not. So, excuse me. Excuse me. Selling us faulty products? This is supposed to be used clothing? Anyways, let's head up to the shelter here. Appears to be in this direction. I mean, we'll go to the shelter in our fancy schmancy clothes. And like the tailor was saying, don't get them all messed up. Well, I mean, we might get them here. And we could even switch over our clothes now and then switch back later. And I don't know if there's actually a thing where if you're wearing your fancy clothes when you do this, then, something happens where they'll comment on how, oh, you look all dirty, Geralt, how dare you? And then by switching our stuff, we might be able to avoid that. He wasn't selling this outfit? Okay. Let's head in.
You? What do you want?
To talk.
Here, that's a waste of breath. We've tried it, only to tire our lips. We'll use other means of persuasion now.
Gentlemen, calm, please.
Either get out along with these flea-ridden vagabonds, or we'll toss you all out. Our patience is gone. This place is no longer a rank refuse dump.
Scram! Decent folk live here.
What is going on right now? I mean, we obviously have only just seen these people, and they immediately seem to be trying to pick a fight with us. But, yeah, what's the harm of these people living here?
The shelter, them living here, bothers you. Question is why.
Look, Ballard. Another defender of the poor. Fighter for justice.
Damn nuisance. We've our women and young folk living next door, when even grown men fear to walk past such rabble.
So you think it's unsafe having them around? I don't know. I mean, of course, we don't have the statistics of the crime rates in the area to understand if that is a true statement or not.
Decent folk you mention. Mean yourselves.
Yeah, people are trying to pick fights with strangers.
Do you doubt it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hear that, Artois? He poking insults us. On our own turf.
We should step aside, good fellow. My friend is perfectly capable of settling this unfortunate dispute on his own.
You know we're Witcher, right? 1 second, before you punch us. Can we switch? We are not getting our fancy clothing messed up. No. Let's put on the fancy schmancy armor that we picked up in the Land of a Thousand Fables. The gold stuff. Just so we, at some point in time, have the opportunity to wear it, because otherwise it may never happen. And apparently, Land of a Thousand Fables was the only place to get it. I thought we'd seen it in other shops, but you guys were saying that's not the case, so there you go. The random pedestrian that you were just trying to take a fight with, who looked like he was some pompous rich guy who maybe had never fist fought anyone in his life. No, was actually a combat hardened Witcher in full plate mail. So have fun. What's the matter? And we're also the fist fighting champion of every place in existence. So like, good luck.
What? Lost your nerve?
What's the matter? What's the matter?
Not a witcher.
Ooh, you did tag team me there. And managed to get hit. Oh, and I was late on the captain that time. Excuse me. I was, kind of looking for like the don't take any damage from these guys at all to teach them a lesson type of thing, but counter that time as well. God, I practice with the fist fights. Wacha! Kung Fu kick for the win.
All right. I could take a hint. Come, time to go.
I thank you so much for your aid. I tried to reason with them, but they'd have beat me blue had you not come along. I'm grateful. Immensely.
What did they want from you?
They are neighbors. Wish me to take my folk, the shelter, elsewhere. They dislike that I help the beggars. I do not oppose going elsewhere, were we to have somewhere to go. But you've come with a problem, have you? My turn to aid you.
Yeah, what exactly is this place from what we understand? We may find some of the beggars here that we're looking for.
Poorhouse?
You could call it that. They come here to rest and eat a hot meal.
You help them, why?
Because they need help.
One of the few noble people in here, perhaps, in the whole Witchering world. I mean, talk about the 5 virtues, but as we've seen, well, I mean, Sienna's whole thing was that she was basically criticizing that and saying that everyone who says they're virtuous is in truth not. And, you know, picked major examples of such people, but even beyond that, oftentimes I think we saw people sort of claiming to be these virtuous errant knights and what have you, but in truth, in times of true testing, they fell short. Whereas this guy is just humble pedestrian who is genuinely just trying to help people.
Need some information. Looking for a man who might have mentioned the boot black in Rue de Garl.
The boot black. A feisty lad. I know him.
Any of your, wards supposed to meet him recently or soon?
Forgive me. Those I help and I are not so close that I would know. But should you wait, they'll all soon come for their meal. You can question them yourselves.
All of them will be here?
Sure all your usual beggars will be here?
They're not obliged to come, of course. But they rarely find a decent meal elsewhere. So, almost all in the area eat here.
Alright. I suppose in that case we'll wait around a little bit. See if we can find him. Give him a quick chat.
Thanks. We'll wait. Nice of you to let us.
Never mind the fact that, you know, we have an important ceremony to go to that, I mean, we were saying there's some time before it starts, but this much time? Who knows? It does say a few hours later, so, like, are we going to be late for our arrangement?
I've a matter to address before I serve the soup. These 2 gentlemen have some questions of you. Pay attention. Answer in brief. For if you draw it out, your soup will go cold. And we wouldn't want that, would we?
Recently, 4 of you delivered sealed letters to the boot black.
Ooh, serious music now.
Does anyone know what the gentleman means? Go on, speak up. Romain?
I knew it was Romain.
Why should I squeal? We were all told not to mention the letters. We all swore.
You can tell me, Romain. You were given a letter and you delivered it, right? Good work, Romain. Thank you. Who else?
I got one too. Gave it to the boot black. And Freshy, he got one.
Ah,
But
now
he
they're all
can't
coming out.
Tell you, as he's not here.
I still have mine. I'm to deliver it 2 days after the Feast of St. Barnabas.
Okay. Now, that letter may not be meaningless. I think we'd like to know who the potential victim, potentially future victim, if we're not careful, would be.
It's a matter of importance to the duchy. Hand it over, or I'll take it from you, plain and simple.
But I was to deliver it personally. Let no one else see it. That is what she said, and she was frightened.
You ought to heed folk who are kind and honest. These men helped me a short while ago, helped all of us. If this individual threatened you, you need not keep the promise you made.
All right. Take it. I didn't want to see the boot black anyways. It's always muddy there.
Alright. Really looked like he was gonna, last second, pull it away and say, on second thought, no.
Damn it.
What is it? Another name, truly?
See for yourself.
The Duchess? It's gonna be the Duchess, right?
Well. I must say, even I did not expect this. This time you will see to our Duchessa. It seems we underestimated Sienna rather grossly.
Yeah!
Judging by this, Detloff was literally supposed to tear her heart out.
Oh!
Yet first you must snap her neck. Puzzling.
Yeah. I mean, given how it is Sienna, who we know was calling all these shots, and given how Sienna definitely was not a big fan of her sister, and definitely was holding it against her for basically taking the title as Duchess that she felt like she deserved. Yeah, having her be the final target does make a lot of sense in that sense, so I can't really say it comes as much of a surprise. It makes a lot of sense.
Puzzle complete now.
Alas, the matter ceased to be a tantalizing brain tease and has turned incredibly grave. We've proof of a plot to assassinate Toussaint's ruler. We've proof of a coup d'etat.
Yeah. I mean, well, then again, like, one of the people, the key people behind it, at least I'm referring to Detloff in this case, was pretty upfront about how he was, waging war on the duchy and did, in fact, send an army of vampires against us. And presumably, if they had managed to get to the Duchess, would have killed her. So, I mean, is it really that much of a stretch beyond what Detloff has already done? Because I'd argue, maybe not. When you've already made an effort to kill everyone in the city, is it that much more to say, oh, also they were trying to kill the Duchess too? Like, well, I mean, yeah. If a vampire happened to get to her, they probably would have done that. So, it just doesn't feel like that's that far beyond what they already did. But, for it to be, at least from Sienna's standpoint, so taking Detloff out of the equation, just looking at purely from Sienna's standpoint, the people that she wanted to have killed, obviously, okay, she had some pretty significant people in the duchy that she had taken out. But, yeah, obviously, the Duchess would absolutely be top of that list in terms of significance to the territory.
Duchess was to be Detloff's last victim. Sienna planned it from the start.
And then
Indeed,
she'd probably try to take her spot on the throne.
4 seemingly random victims to start. The virtue's their only link. Enough to get folk talking about a righteous, vengeful beast. Obscured the victims' links to Sienna, even as she had those she despised killed off one by one, leaving the Duchess for last.
Had she managed to fulfill her plan, none would have questioned the reasons. Most would have thought Anna Henrietta had died for her sins. She was known to show a hard heart on many occasions, ample proof of a lack of compassion.
Why would Sienna murder her own sister? Out of envy? To take power? From an inborn penchant for evil?
All the above?
Yes.
Yeah.
All seem likely, and none are mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to know for certain, you could always ask her yourself.
I mean, I would like to learn her motives, yeah. Definitely, if we can. I would say that's one of the big things for me, is just trying to figure out, because she went to such great extents to try to make this happen, and got 80% of the plan done. Of course, you could certainly make the case that the last step was the biggest, and like we said, it definitely was, but she nearly pulled everything off.
Actually, love to learn her motives.
Praiseworthy, I suppose.
Sometimes
one
should
should
that
stare
far.
evil in the face.
Seems a bit strong, no?
She used my friend as her tool for killing. I believe I've every right to condemn her, but I support your lust for the truth. Some philosophers think empirical examination the sole path to knowledge. I believe you mentioned the Duchess keeps Sienna locked up.
Courtiers were insisting on a harsher punishment. Much harsher. Think Anna Henrietta had to protect her sister from a lynch mob as much as she wanted to protect her subjects from a criminal. One way or another, she's locked away in a secluded wing of the palace, awaiting trial before a court of law. I'd need to get past some guards to see her.
We talking stealth mode? Yeah, also, before we get into all that stuff, worth noting, Sienna is obviously, at least at the moment, still alive even if she's imprisoned, and her intention was all along to kill her sister, the Duchess. And so, presumably that means, if she can, she will still try to find a way to make that happen. So, the Duchess is not necessarily safe just yet. Obviously, Detloff may not be entirely out of the equation because we don't actually know if he's entirely dead or if there's some way for him to still heal his way back out of that. I mean, he looks pretty dead, but who knows? He's a higher vampire. Even if it looked like Regis did whatever it is that higher vampires need to do to kill other higher vampires, but even without Detloff, if Sienna found an opportunity to take out her sister, presumably she would still try to make it happen. And she seems like someone who's vindictive enough that, even if, frankly, even if it was like out in the open, right as she's about to get sent to, her deathbed, it seems like, I wouldn't put it past her to just pull a knife out of her back pocket and stab her sister and just go, all right, obviously I'm going down here, but I'm going to take you down with me. I could absolutely imagine Sienna doing something like that. So, for all those reasons, I think, even if the Beast of Beauclair, at least for now, is out of the picture, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Duchess is 100% safe at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, why not go with Regis, I suppose?
Coming with?
Of course not. I shall await you at Mare la Chaise-Longue. I'll not risk entering the palace after Detloff and his minions rampage. Besides, I vastly prefer the company of a simple mug of mandrake brew to that of the Duchess's vile sister.
Alright.
So, said straight up, it means you're going off to get drunk because you hate Sienna.
I've never been fond of categorical statements of that kind, but I admit I could not vouch for my behavior in her presence. She treated Detloff cruelly, caused his death in the end, and now this, atop all that...
Regis is saying he's dead?
I will not go with you. I will await you at the cemetery.
Alright.
Those vampires were running about town. I almost dumped my guts in fear.
Alright, so, talking to Sienna is next on the list. Technically, it's listed as optional, but again, we'll do it because this is all theoretically optional. Because it's the going to the ceremony thing that is the main component. But, so she's in some remote section of the palace. That gave me the sense, given how Geralt was saying how there would be some guards trying to, well, guard her, that we would need to sneak past said guards. So that's Sienna. And that's the ceremony there. So yeah, this is the one we're looking for. It is basically just pointing us right to the middle of the palace. So we'll head in that direction, I suppose. And, in theory, best way is through here.
A smashing place we have, eh?
Hard save. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. And then let's take a look at what exactly that paper we just picked up says. Because, yeah, it's the one that has the Duchess's name on it. But letter revealing the 5th victim. What else does it say, if anything? This time you must see to our Duchessa. Anna Henrietta knows nothing of empathy. Heart is cold. This shard of ice must tear from her... You must tear from her breast. Yet first you must snap her neck, quickly, and to effect. Once that is done, Reyna shall go free. Yeah, so, again, this was Sienna masquerading as someone who was, well, capturing and holding herself hostage, well, just pretending to be some other mysterious person who was holding Sienna hostage. Obviously wasn't true because she was Sienna herself, but we read this? Have we read this, or is this new? When it has that exclamation point, Sienna gave me a card today with headless, blood-stained people on it. I asked why she had drawn it. The princess answered that it was a scene from nightmares that had been haunting her since she can remember. It's true that Sienna awakes each night with a scream, unless she is sleeping in the same bed as Henrietta. Have we read this? Girls cold today, unfortunately, I must note that they did not behave in a manner becoming for young ladies. There were fisticuffs. Anna Henrietta was first to hit her sister, but Sienna did not wait long to reply. Before I could break them apart, little Henrietta had lost 2 milk teeth, and she ran straight to her parents to complain. His Grace the Duke couldn't believe his ears when I told him what had happened. Sienna got the whole blame and was suitably punished. Henrietta then tried to ease the situation, but the Duke and Duchess were resolute. Today, for the first time, I accompanied the girls to the Land of Thousand Fables, where they spent half a day. First, we played with Thumbelina, and then with Redbeard, who was extremely gallant for a highwayman. I'm thoroughly impressed by what the Master Artorius Vigo has achieved. Oh, I assume this was Artorius Vigo who's reading this, or was writing this. He has proved that he has no equal in magical mysteries. The girls said that if I were to go by it myself, all I have to do is open the book of the Land of Thousand Fables and say out loud the spell Expecto Ludum. Today, Sienna was tested by the mages sent by the chapter. I don't know what conclusions they drew, but His Grace, the Duke, is clearly worried. I asked the Duke what awaits the princess. He didn't reply. I tutored the girls in Nilfgaardian today. Sienna applies herself so, though she has great difficulty memorizing new vocabulary. Lady Henrietta seems more gifted in this regard, yet also prone to impish behavior. When she thought me out of earshot, she called me a blodakuse, and she and Sienna laughed so hard they almost choked. That sounds familiar. We might have read that. But anyways,
Lovely views.
Let's chat with this thug.
Have you heard? Some new ringers over at the bells.
Then we'll head out. Yeah, we definitely heard some of that. That sounded somewhat familiar. Okay. Now, I mean, we're just I mean, can we... I guess we can bring Roach, right? Suppose there's no reason not to. And she can't sprint through here, I don't think, but probably still faster. Can she? No. This is probably still faster than Geralt running around in full plate mail, though. Oh, we could fast travel, that's also true. That is true. We did just go by a fast travel spot. I mean, at this point, we may just be better served. Keep on moving. Yeah, we're like right in the middle of all the fast travel spots. This is true. Maybe once we get to the next one, we'll do it. At that point, then it's not that much of time saved, but so be it. This is one. Okay, so, yeah, let's head up to the Beauclair Palace this way. And I don't know, I got the impression we might be entering stealth territory here with this mission. Which, with all of our gold plate mail, may not be the most practical way to make that happen. So let's see, how exactly do we get in here and try to chat with Sienna? Well, now we can just waltz right in here. So that's not a problem. Do we actually need to be concerned about not getting noticed? Question mark? Shh. Don't tell anyone. Out of here. Oh, there is a guard there. I did walk toward him.
Halt!
Need to see Sienna urgently.
In the matter of?
Do we tell him the truth and get him all worried and probably have him dismiss us as some crazy loon? Or do we just play it simple, in which case he could totally brush us off and say that nothing that's not important, get out of here, you should leave. Also, maybe change back to our fancy clothes? Yeah, we can do that soon. I don't know. I guess let's go for this one, but as I was just saying, there are certain ways you could certainly justify dismissing us in either circumstance.
Need to interrogate her. New facts have come to light. Need them explained. Seems she was planning your Duquesse's assassination.
Ah, fine then. You're that witcher who solved the murders, no? Then you've my permission, but only for a few minutes.
Promise to be brief.
Alright, and yeah. Sounds good, but just, like, give us a second here. To get encumbered. Which may or may not have been the reason why I went over in that direction initially anyway. I may have seen the shiny stuff and wanted to loot. Maybe. Possibly. I wouldn't tell you if that was the truth, though. Of course, I would just, I just wouldn't say anything. I would just lead you to believe that I wanted to chat with the guard, and that was the real reason for having gone in that direction. I wanted to see if it was possible to get his attention, if we actually needed to be stealthy or not. That was totally the reason why I went in that direction initially. Not because I wanted to pick up additional cheese. That would be silly. We're a witcher. We don't need cheese, do we? Of course we need cheese. Everyone needs cheese.